wasn't such a long intro. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Huh? What do you think about that, Green? What do you think about this cool intro?
It's boring. According to my comparison data, it's really boring.
Wait, what? Well, shit. Oh, darn. Well, I'd like to take this time to thank Anime Link for giving this AI a name. So what's the next manga?
Analyzing archives. Loading. Choosing manga.
Choosing manga. Let's go. I can't wait. What is it?
Double Taisei.
Wait, what? Do you know how to play shogi? In short, shogi, also known as Japanese chess, or Game of Generals, is a two-player strategy-based board game. Each player has a set of 20 flat pieces, large and small, on an 81 square board. These pieces are 1 king, 1 rook, 1 bishop, 2 gold generals, 2 silver generals, 2 knights, 2 lances, and 9 pawns. Each piece besides the king can be promoted, increasing the piece's move options. With a game like this, there are rules and restrictions. I won't go over all of them. However, I will finalize with this. The game ends in either a checkmate, a resignation, a legal move, repetition, impasse, time forfeit, and 2 of these win states end up in draws. I had to go over the basics so you can see how Double Taisei fucks it all up in this review. Without further ado, let's begin the Double Taisei. Double Taisei is written and drawn by Kentaro Fukuda. The story began in May 19, 2019 and met its end in November 29, 2019. This isn't Kentaro Fukuda's first rodeo, as he worked on other titles such as In One Last Moments and Deadly Man. With this experience under his belt, surely Double Taisei had to be one of the better manga written in every sense of the word, right? One of his subtitles even states it's a shogi manga with all the right pieces. As true as I find that, it's how the pieces are put together that make it fail. Now tell me, Green, is that the theme of this manga?
Well, we have a lot to get to before we reach the fated theme. As to why I picked this manga instead of tell show, let's begin the first impressions immediately. Loading.
Okay. We won't go over sales this video. However, the story's over 100 chapters, it's a given. Let's showcase chapters 1, 2, 3 to get our first impressions. Let's go. The manga starts off with an interesting visual that suggests there will be twins in this story. Then we get introduced to Taisei Tendo, the 40-year-old shogi prodigy. Then we get introduced to Kanade, a best friend of sorts. It's at this moment we find out Tai and Sei are separate personalities, and Tai is having a hard time figuring out Sei's last move. Pro tip for the fellas: if you want to get some ladies' attention, be a shogi prodigy. Works every time. After meeting Taisei's mom and seeing best friend say goodnight, we get to see Sei's point of view once more as he leaves tonight with Kanade to go to his place. Sei shows off more of his singing skills, then Kanade hurries home only to be stopped by a gang, and then them to be stopped by Sei. The scene ends with Sei getting injured and Katar broken. The chapter starts to reach its end as Tai is seen losing his consciousness and switches to Sei. Very interesting start to this chapter 1, isn't it? This chapter takes full advantage of this 57-page introduction in the most professional way possible, tells you everything you need to know about Taisei while flipping his world at the end. Character backstory, starting relationships. This is how you should write a chapter 1 to any story at the very least. But will chapter 2 do something to build with the interesting ending of 1? Let's see. Sei lost a round and ran out of time, only because he didn't know there was a time limit, Tai says. The second day of the pro qualifiers begin as Taisei heads out against Juso Haga. Interesting, even though it is stated that Haga lost the tie before. He said he saw stage strategy and understood it, signaling to Tai that he may be more of a challenge, as he feels like he's facing Sei. In fact, he might even be too much like Sei. because he loses the same exact way. Now this next part is up for interpretation. Either Haga accidentally pushes Tai down the stairs, or Tai fell down the stairs. Either way, the dude fell down the stairs and ended up in a hospital. The chapter ends up with Tai disappearing and waking up in the sunlight. A solid chapter 2, but nothing more. Let's end these first impressions off. Apparently, it's been 5 days since Tai fell down the stairs. But in these opening pages of chapter 3, we get to see how everyone is handling it, and Sei is not handling it very well at all. But it's shown in a fun way, how differently he handles school, girls, and Taisei's day life in general. Eventually, and I mean eventually, Sei gets a challenge to a game of shogi. It's here he gets to showcase his godlike technique. And we get to see some much needed characteristic panels. Funny how we don't even get to know this character's name, and he played against it, and we don't even know the name of this she or he character. It's very weird. The chapter ends up with Sei building up the courage to play and the upcoming pro qualifier match in chapter 4. Well, that's the first impressions. And as far as first impressions are concerned, it has a solid opening. But nothing more, nothing that's truly groundbreaking. It's safe but consistent. Let's talk about the arcs in this story before we go any further. The full story. Oh boy. Now, for bigger stories and bigger manga on this show, we would do this a little differently. But since Double Taisei is only 27 chapters, this is the way we're going to be doing it. And usually around this time we review the arcs after we got our first impressions, and I must say it's very solid opening, but Taisei ends up in a weird way, man. First of all, I like to call chapters 1 through 6 the day and night arc. We get the introduction to Taisei's origin as we just saw. Key characters like Kanade are introduced as well, and pretty much Haga, my bad, as well. But here's the weird part. After chapter 6, we get to meet Sei's nighttime friend, Izumi. Now, his name is Bon Izumi, and we get to learn more about Izumi's motivation to take care of his brothers, and him and Sei have a match together. That lasts 3 chapters. That's not really good. I don't think so. And then we have what I call this arc, chapters 11 to 22, which is pretty much the bulk of this manga, the Tendo era arc, where we get introduced to 4 brand new characters. Well, 3, because we got introduced to Haga already. Yua, Satome, Mugen Gogetsu, Haga, and Master Fukuoka, which is probably not an important person. He seems important. He's in the chapter. He's part of the committee, but he's not that important. And chapter 23 to chapter 27. The what the fuck just happened arc. Oh my goodness. Shall we talk about that? Shall we talk about how weird this manga ends? Right? Let's do it. Let's go ahead and check out the final 3 chapters of this entire manga, and you tell me how different this really is. The bullshit actually begins in chapters 23, Demon, and 24, the finals. And my word, I have never seen a manga this short have such a mental breakdown. Look at Yugioh and Taisei. Within these last pages, there is something so terrifyingly different from the previous 10 chapters. It's a bit jarring, but also feels it could be naturally exist in this world. So strange. So strange. Take a look at chapter 25 as the destined matchup between Haga and Taisei begins. It starts normal, but goes immediately into the weird shit. Haga starts to replicate the other rivals as well as Taisei himself, but also Tai Shogi. And that's when Yuya Dodo, yeah, I forgot to mention him, he's in here too, and Mugen find out that Taisei has a split personality. But brace yourself for the most highlighted part of the manga, the most electrifying dumb batshit scene in the entire 27 chapters. You ready? Oh my goodness. This very panel, this Joker-like bullshit. Oh my goodness, what the fuck was the mangaka doing when he made this panel? In fact, this panel is perfect for my alternative rock album. Check it out in the link below. Check out my mixtape. Holy shit, what the fuck? Anyway, Sei admits he has a split personality, and at that point, Haga asks for an apology for punching him in the face. Remember that? Oh wait, yeah. Well, ironically, they both end up punching each other anyway in the face at the end of the chapter, telling us that the mangaka at this point stopped giving a shit about the shogi part. Chapter 26 is pretty much just a reaction to Taisei Tendo's split personality. Some don't believe it. Most people believe it's just a joke, so it's maintained in the shogi records that way, a joke. In this chapter, Sei and the gang are mostly, the gang being Mugen, Dodo, and Yugioh, are mostly seen hanging out until Tai comes out. We get a very interesting interaction with Tai and the gang, as he recognizes them as his rivals. Finally, chapter 27, a glimpse to the future, where we see grown-up versions of Yuya, Satomi, and Kanata. Sweet, sweet Kanata. Also Mugen, Dodo, they don't really look that different, and Haga. Yeah, this ending is surprisingly tame, as it ends with Tai versus Sei, as they compete each other because of their split personalities. What a profound message from Kanata. I'll always be cheering for you, double Taisei. He said it! He said it! Yeah, that bitch dumb as fuck. It should have been plural, and that's why I fixed it for her. Anyway, we're not done with this yet. We gotta break this manga down even further. Let's talk about the characters and more information about them and the characters stage. Since this manga is only 27 chapters, we're gonna shorten it down our discussion that we would usually do in a bigger manga. I decided to rank the characters for my favorite and talk about them a little bit more than I did. I barely talked about them. Let's start with my number one pick, Sei. Sei is kind of the highlight here. He's the stronger personality. He's the most interesting one. Every other character likes his character. He's my number one character because he's so interesting. But interesting, maybe just as much for you, is that Tai is number 4. And this is not something that I agree with at all. If you're gonna make a story, and have a split personality, the split personality should be on the same exact page in terms of interestingness. Tai is boring as shit. He's number 4. He's lower than Haga, and Haga, I don't know what's going on with this character. I mean, I'm thinking you may see a problem with this manga, and it's that there's no antagonist. There is no story. And Haga could have easily been that antagonist. He could have accidentally pushed Tai down the stairs, but turned into a more antagonistic force towards later in the manga one introduced with the other characters. Yuya, I like the way that she was handled as a person who likes Sei. Kanata, she serves her purpose. And now, number 5 here is Mitsumi. I know it's Izumi, and I always, this is kind of a joke because I've always mispronounced it Izumi as Mitsumi, so that's why that's there. And Dodo, the guy that tried to kill himself because he couldn't win that shogi. Those are my top 8 characters. Gogetsu sucks. I mean, I like his character, but compared to everybody else here, it's just not as interesting in my opinion. Just looking at this, there's so many things I would just change about this story, and you know what? I think it's time for go to that section. What will you change? I ask you, what will you change about Double Taisei? Alright, so my personal level of interest with this manga is not that high, so I'm going to keep this section short. What I would do is have no ending. Instead, change a few key features. 1, don't make it just about shogi, make it about multiple games. The first arc should be a fight between and rivalry between all Sei, Tai, Yuya, Haga, Dodo, and Mugen, as we get to know these characters and eventually the winner of that outcome. Hopefully, one of these characters being an antagonistic force. Of course, I would switch things out a little bit. After chapter 4, I would have to introduce these characters, and then after those characters introduced, I will introduce Izumi, and things will continue to expand from that point on until Sai and Tai and Sei, that's what I meant to say, separate through some magical force. Sounds a bit off, but that's the way I would change it. And as you could probably tell, it's a radical change from what's been represented. In fact, let's go talk about the score. to finalize this review of this manga. Alright, for this 27 chapter manga, there's been a lot of rough patches. A lot of things that could have been better, easily. More than a lot of 27 chapters I've saw. But I think that there is something to learn from this manga here. Before we continue on to whether or not this title is underrated or overrated, obviously it's not one of those fucking things. Let's look at the manga stats. Well, total chapters are 27. Pages read 559. 0 canon arcs. Recommend level low, but I'll get more on that a little later. Shocking moments 3. I mean shocking as in shockingly dumb. Boredom level mid. It was somewhat interesting because of how stupid it was. The art and story sync 8 out of 10. The art was actually pretty good for the representing certain things in the story. Story potential very freaking low. What? Ending satisfaction. You kidding me? What? Low. Who cares? Best arc, non-A. The worst arc, an A. What do you expect? I mean, the manga got canceled. It's a 1 out of 10. But like I said, I want to get back on that recommend level. It's a low recommendation, but I do think there's something you could take from Double Taisei. So it's time to reveal the score, or the name, the title. 1 out of 10 is a directionless narrative with missing pieces. Now, I know that may seem contradiction, because if it's a directionless narrative, that means it has no structure. But to say that it's missing pieces would imply that it has structure to miss pieces in the first place. And here's what I'm trying to get at here. The story had no direction, but it had interesting potential in certain areas. It just should have never been about shogi to begin with. The characters were interesting, but it was a shogi manga. So technicality, it should have been about shogi, but it was more about the characters than the shogi itself. The shogi was just a side piece. And that's why I call this directionless narrative with the missing pieces. It's a disaster. But it's an interesting one, to say the least. That kind of brings us to an end with Double Taisei, but when are we going to get some real manga? 27 chapters in a row? I know I picked the first one, but a second time? What's going on here? You haven't even given me what theme you took from a manga, or anything really.
I searched the space web. The data I received suggested Double Taisei. For you.
For me? What the fuck are you on about for me? What are you talking about, man? What?
It was a perfect manga. For you. To discover and review, to prepare. You. For Reborn.
You said we when you came up with this idea. 5 manga before Reborn. Then I get the ship archives. I didn't steal this shitty scrap heap for nothing. Very valuable info is on this ship and I want it. You telling me you don't have the manga beforehand, or even didn't have anything beforehand? Planned when you said this?
Perhaps there was improvision.
You know what? That's it! I'm done with your bullshit. Just give me the damn info. I'm not reviewing that shitty, detestable manga trash that is Hitman Reborn. Shitty fucking manga. Just give me the damn info. Oh, shit! Whoa, wait, hold up. In space? Whoa, what the? Whoa.
You have been forewarned. And now, you will pay the price for wrongfully trashing Amano's masterpiece. A treasure trove in the universe gave to us. For you. A simpleton to trash something much bigger than yourself. Showcases how much of an ant you really are.
Oh my.
The darkness within your heart will perish alongside you.
Violence, yo.
As you have no redemption within your soul.
Shit, man.
As I reload this gun.
That's it.
I hope you considered the sin you committed.
You know what? Yo, chill. Please, just put it away, man. Just put it away. It's not worth it.
Any last words?
I'll review the Hitman Reborn anime alongside the manga fair, and unbiasedly honest. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Yeah. Yes, this can calibrate more fans than you originally researched. Yeah, how about that? Just let me pick the rest of the manga. Start with one of your favorites. Oh, what about Siren?
Siren. Yes, this is acceptable.
Well, there you have it. The next underrated overrated will be about Siren, an actual complete manga. It's gonna be an interesting one. My name is SHINTONE. Until next confirmation, I'll be seeing ya. Peace?